All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Now, the Niners have been really, really good at finding very good players in round 7 of the draft and after the draft. They have done an incredible job at finding, guys who fall through the cracks, and I think they've done it again. Mel Kiper, in his mock draft last week, his latest mock draft, had the 49ers drafting Joey Fisher, an offensive tackle from Shepherd, a Division II school, number 99 overall in round 3, Division II Shepherd University. And I started watching film of Fisher, and the more I watched, the more I thought, this guy is awesome. Now, here's the thing. Before I don't want to overreact, because you got to remember this. When you have big physical NFL caliber offensive linemen that are playing Division II and they're run blocking against Division II defensive linemen, they're going to look good. But Joey Fisher, it wasn't just that he looked good, it's the mindset. This guy is nasty. And to me, that's what I'm looking for in an offensive lineman, especially when you're playing in a run-heavy scheme like Kyle Shanahan. You want a nasty brawler guy who's going to bury people. Joey Fisher's a great story. He's from Hagerstown, Maryland, and he trained this year in Fort Myers, Florida. He definitely needs some work and some refinement, but he's an offensive tackle, not a left tackle, more of a right tackle. Some people think he's a right guard, to be honest. But he's 6'5". He's 322 pounds. And it depends I've seen other measurements list him at 6'4", 300 pounds. But he's in that range, let's just say. 6'4", 6'4 and a half, roughly 300 pounds. Is he as much as 322? I don't know. I'm not sure where he's at right now. He originally was a high school defensive end. And to me, I love the offensive linemen that have the defensive line history, because usually the better athletes play on the defensive side of the ball, and usually that defensive mentality means you like to hit. And that, I think, is, you have to be able to love contact to be great on the line of scrimmage in the NFL. And this guy, he's going to be Shepherd's first NFL draft pick. I should say, if he had been drafted, he would have been Shepherd's first NFL draft pick since 1979. He went undrafted. This is such an interesting story. This guy did not play football for 3 years. 2016 didn't play. 2017 he didn't play. Didn't play in 2018 either. What happened was he went to Maryland, then decommitted from Maryland, left, went to Towson State, and then couldn't find a school to give him a scholarship after he left Towson. So what did he do? He just became kind of a gym rat, and he practiced football with his younger brother. His dad is a locksmith by trade, and he worked with his dad as a locksmith. And then finally he said, you know what, I got to get out there. I got to get on the football field. And so he grew up, by the way, as a Ravens fan. He's a Hagerstown, Maryland kid who grew up a Ravens fan. So he's rooting for the Ravens, working as a locksmith, not going to school, and finds a way to go to Shepherd University. They originally were interested in him as a tight end, but they quickly moved him to offensive line, and he took to it, immediately, and it became a 3-year starter, and started 43 games at right tackle. Now, some people think, as I said, he's a right guard. The Jets actually worked him out as a center. The guy that he models his game after is Trent Williams. So the fact that he's coming to the 49ers and is going to be in the same, offensive line meeting room with Trent Williams is probably a huge thrill for Joey. But the strength that he showed in his individual workout, he had 40 reps of 225. 40. That would have led all the offensive linemen in Indianapolis. He wasn't invited to the combine. When you turn on the film, you can see he's nasty. He's a mauler. This guy absolutely wants to run over you. And if he's going to throw you on the ground and bury you, he is a big-time nasty mauler in the run game. He ran 4.90. That time right there would have led all of the offensive linemen in Indy. So think about that. He ran the time that would have been the number one time of any offensive lineman in Indianapolis. He had 40 reps of 225. That would have been the best bench press of any offensive lineman in Indianapolis. He's a little older than you want, but so many guys in this draft are because of COVID. Many guys were granted an extra year of eligibility. And so this draft, more so than almost any draft I can remember, you're seeing a number of guys who are older. He's 25, but he's got long arms. He impressed the scouts at the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl down in Southern California, and then got invited to the Senior Bowl, but had to sit out the actual Senior Bowl game because of a broken hand. And then because he sat out the Senior Bowl, he wasn't invited to the Combine. So the guy got snubbed by the Combine because of a broken hand that didn't allow him to play at the Senior Bowl. If he had gone to the Combine and put up a 4.9040 and 40 reps at 225, this guy would have gone in the 4th or 5th round. I am absolutely confident of it. Kuiper thought he was going to go in the 3rd round 10 days ago and mocked him to the Niners at 99. How about that? And now the Niners get him as an undrafted free agent. So this is where Adam Peters and John Lynch are really, really good. Last year, it's like they almost had 2 drafts. They had the draft they had, and then they had all these guys that they signed after the draft. And this year, there'll be a steady diet of these names coming across over the next couple days. It won't be none of these will be official till they sign their contracts and go through the physical down in Santa Clara with the Niners doctors. But pending a physical, pending a name on the contract, Joey Fisher is going to sign with the 49ers as an undrafted free agent. And I guess I probably am one of the only guys who ever gets excited about undrafted free agents. But do we need a refresher course on the 49ers and undrafted free agents? The Niners have had their success with undrafted free agents through the years. And, you think of their roster, there's so many guys that they have that were undrafted free agents that anybody could have had. Heck, last year, Brock Purdy was 1 pick away from being an undrafted free agent. And look what kind of year he had. He came within 1 game of going to the Super Bowl. But look at the 49ers right now. Tay Martin, young receiver on their roster, undrafted free agent. Nobody drafted him. He's a hell of a player. Jason Poe, undrafted free agent. They've had their success with undrafted free agents. Raheem Mostert, undrafted free agent. Jordan Mason, J.P. Mason, the running back, who looks like a poor man's Marshawn Lynch, undrafted free agent. Kevin Givens, undrafted free agent. Clea Davis was a late-round pick, but Marcelino McCrary-Ball, who's going to make the team this year, undrafted free agent. So they really have a good eye for it. Quantrez Knight, undrafted free agent. Raheem Mostert, Nick Mullins, those guys were undrafted free agents. So they do have a good eye for signing undrafted free agents. And it's funny, it's like people are going to lose their mind about Jake Moody in the 3rd round. But if they had done what Kuiper said they should do and draft Jake Fisher, with the 3rd pick, with the 3rd round pick, or Joey Fisher, I should say, called him Jake. If they had done what Kuiper wanted them to do or projected they would do and drafted this Joey Fisher out of Shepherd, and people said, oh, you know what? He's a nasty offensive lineman from a Division II school. Kuiper said he was going in the 3rd round, and sure enough, the Niners took him in the 3rd round. And then they signed Jake Moody as an undrafted free agent instead. Nobody would say anything. But the 49ers do it the other way. They lock up Moody, they get the best kicker, and they wind up getting an offensive lineman that I'm very confident is going to make their team and maybe become a significant player for them. They get him as an undrafted free agent. So, that's why these drafts, there have been many drafts where I've looked at it and said, man, I really don't like those 5th round picks. I really don't like that 6th round pick. But then, wow, I really like those 5 guys that you signed after the draft. Once you get to day 3, guys get drafted because they have traits. Guys don't get drafted because they probably have some perceived flaw. But ultimately, the guys that you draft in the fourth round are not that much different than the guys you draft in the seventh round, and those guys aren't that much different than the guys you get after the draft. So in this case, they get Moody, the kicker, in the third round, and people are losing their mind. But then they take a guy who may be their future starting right tackle, and they don't use a pick on him at all. They just sign him as an undrafted free agent. So it's just, you got to roll with the personnel game, and you just got to trust that Lynch and Peters know what they're doing. But I'll say this, as somebody who has done the deep dive on Joey Fisher and has watched his Shepherd University highlight package and read a bunch of scouting reports on him, to me, based on the names that I've read so far, Joey Fisher to the Niners is one of the better undrafted free agent signings I've seen thus far. All right, hope you enjoyed my 49er video. Check out Pig and a Pickle in Corte Madera and in Emeryville. Awesome barbecue. Get the brisket. Say hi to Damon. Say hi to Mary. And thanks for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.